Reps probe US aid over alleged Boko Haram funding. House of Representatives calls for police intervention in Osun local government crisis. And rising homicide cases, lawmakers demand justice for victims. From security to politics and the justice system, we've got it all covered in this episode. Welcome to You and Your Reps. I am Victor Azo. Thank you for joining us. The House of Representatives has launched a probe into allegations that the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, may have funded Boko Haram activities in Nigeria. Now, acting on a motion of urgent national importance, lawmakers set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the claims. Now, the probe will also extend to non-governmental organizations operating in the country to verify their identities and funding sources.
The dust is yet to settle over recent statements by U.S. Congressman Scott Perry, alleging that the United States Agency for International Development has been involved in the sponsorship of Boko Haram and other terrorist activities. Just like their counterparts in the Senate, lawmakers here are calling for a probe to ascertain the veracity of the allegations.
When a congressman in America speaks, you have to hold it as something that has some sort of weight.
Since 2009, why is it protracted? There must be some involvement of serious financing, because we know these people, they are ragtag. Where are they getting this money? Where are they getting these weapons? Each time you will see at least 2 to 3 private jets parked there, owned by NGOs. Most of the offices in Maiduguri are owned by NGOs. And Yobe, what are they doing there?
National Security Advisor, the Director General of the State Security Service, DSS, the Director of National Intelligence Agency, NIA, the Director of Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, to appear before the committee over allegations of funding to terrorist group by United States Agency for International Development, USAID.
To build scaled second reading to establish National Vocation Training Center in all local government areas in the country, as well as to establish the first federal health institution in Yagba East, Yagba West, and Mopamuro Federal Constituency of Kogi State.
For an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act 2022 to establish Federal Medical Center in Sonlu, Yagba East, Kogi State.
The House also passed a resolution urging the Northeast Development Commission to reconstruct the road linking Maihula to Wubu and environs in Taraba State.
That road is a critical infrastructure connecting agricultural hub of the state, as well as to improve security of the area.
Meanwhile, the House witnessed another defection of Yusuf Shitu Galambi of Jigawa State from the New Nigeria People's Party to the All Progressives Congress.
In the meantime, the House of Representatives has launched an investigation into the violent clashes at local government secretariats in Osun State, which reportedly claimed lives last week. During plenary, lawmakers mandated an ad hoc committee to uncover the root causes of the crisis. They also called on the Inspector General of Police to step in urgently to prevent further escalation.
Lawmakers emphasized that security agencies should restore normalcy before things get out of hand.
The present situation in Osun State may snowball into a free-for-all unless urgent actions are taken by relevant authorities. The preventable violence which happened in Osun State has led to the death of 6 persons, while scores of others have suffered severe injuries and presently receiving treatment in various hospitals.
On the need to investigate the crisis in Osun State, Honorable Idris Ahmed Wase, who serve as the chairman of the committee, they have 1 week to report back to the House.
Frequent road accidents along some highways in the country were highlighted in another motion with calls for preventive measures.
Within 2025 alone, over 10 accidents have occurred on Lokoja and Atako-Filile Expressway. All the federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Works, to expedite
and expansion of the road. The slow pace of the construction of the Bida-Suleja Road, in spite of an alternative funding source through the Road Infrastructure Tax Credit Scheme, has contributed hugely to the indiscriminate parking of tankers along major roads on the route, thereby worsening traffic congestion and increasing the risk of accident.
Other resolutions sought additional mandate secretaries for the FCT administration, as well as inclusion of Ndokwa Ukwani Federal Constituency in the Presidential Amnesty Program.
Concerned at the exclusion of Ndokwa Ukwani Federal Constituency from the Amnesty Program is causing growing frustration among local population.
To urge the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory to appoint 6 additional secretaries to enhance good governance, effective service delivery within the Federal Capital Territory.
A bill to repeal and reenact the National Assembly Service Act 2025 scaled second reading. The House observed a minute silence in honor of late elder statesman Edwin Clark, extolling his selfless services to the Nigerian nation and the development of the Niger Delta region.
And the House of Representatives has raised concern over the increasing cases of homicide, particularly against women, with many perpetrators still walking free. Adopting a motion on the matter, lawmakers urged the National Judicial Council and law enforcement agencies to prioritize homicide investigations and ensure that offenders face full prosecution.
Reeling statistics of homicide cases in recent years, sponsor of the motion, Representative Abiante, observed that women are mostly the victims, as he emphasized the need to dispense justice.
The recent killing of Salome Adaidu, a National Youth Corps member in Nasarawa State, is a continuation of the trend. The list is endless. Distraught by the delays in the prosecution of homicide cases, which have caused prolonged pre-trial detentions, which is overcrowding the correctional facilities, and loss of crucial evidence, eroding public faith in the judicial system.
When these things happen, we just don't want to hear that it has happened. We want to hear that somebody was prosecuted.
This is about the only country I know in the world where you can lodge into a hotel without proper identification.
We must act decisively to ensure that these heinous crimes are met with the full force of the law.
Other resolutions include the need for relevant agencies to intensify surveillance and raids on fake drug manufacturers.
Urgent need for government intervention to combat production and distribution of fake and expired drugs following the discovery of counterfeit drug factory in Osisoma, Ngwa local government area of Abia State.
Lawmakers also appealed to INEC to conduct by-elections for vacant seats in the National and State Assemblies.
Invite the leadership of Independent National Electoral Commission to provide detailed explanation for the reason behind the delay and step taken to rectify the situation.
The House Committee on INEC and Judiciary to intervene and prevail on INEC to restore the suppressed state assemblies, state constituencies in Kogi East Central District.
A bill to establish the National Assembly Infrastructure and Property Agency passed second reading.
To take over the operation, management, development, maintenance, and preservation of the National Assembly complex and all properties of the National Assembly anywhere in Nigeria and for related matters.
Sergeant-at-Arms, who are they and what role do they play in the legislature? We put this question to the chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Francis Waive, for a breakdown.
The term Sergeant-at-Arms referred to, in general terms, the law enforcement officials of the Legislative House. In many cases, they are present at plenary and entry and exit points of the assembly. You know, Sergeant-at-Arms are to maintain decorum, law and order, and where there is, they are to protect the maize and lead the procession of presiding officers to begin a parliamentary meeting or gathering. In many cases, they are also used to escort members who are suspended out of the chamber or out of the premises. But generally, their role is to maintain law and order in the presence of a legislative assembly. In the National Assembly here, we have Sergeant at Arms, and we usually have a boss, leader of each chamber. In any chamber, there's a leader who leads the Sergeant at Arms. So he is like the commander or boss. But their business generally is to ensure that unauthorized persons don't get access to the chambers, and that business of the chambers are conducted with decorum. To distribute literature documents during proceedings and ensure that everything is done decently and in order.
Now, following the passage of the 2025 budget, you and your reps sat down with Deputy Chairman of the House Committee on Federal Character, Adebayo Adepoju, to break down what it means for that sector.
It doesn't matter how well you work on anything, you always have people that will criticize. And criticisms are not always a bad thing. But I think if you look at it from the right point of view, it's the way to make the system improve. So we are not immune to criticisms. The most important thing is that the government should be focused on what the needs of the people are. And as long as we are focused on what the needs of the people are, I think it will be a lot easier for people at the end of the day to appreciate whatever delay there was, before the budget gets passed. There is no perfect budget anywhere, and the needs of our people keep changing. Human needs are very insatiable, and I can tell you, it's not something that we can fulfill in just 1 year or 5-year cycle. It's a continuous thing. And besides, needs of people change as well, and government change. So you can find out that when the government is focused on something, after 4 years you have to change in government again. There might be another focus for that government. So right now the House has passed the budget, but we're waiting for the signature of His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our president, to sign it. Once he assents to it, then it becomes law. For now, certain things can still be tweaked, and that's why you notice that it had to come back to the House yesterday. We had to retweak a few things because we had observed that there were certain things that we needed to make amends to. So, that has been done, and the House has passed it again. It's not, people would criticize, but I think whatever is worth doing is worth doing well. And if we have that behind our minds, that would, that should be what should be most important to us. Are we not happy that we increased our budgets on health? Are we not happy about that? These are things that I think we need to look at what the focus of the budget is. Education is saying a very good chunk. Defense, isn't defense as important as anything else? So our sovereignty is very important in this country, and we have to defend this nation. So my thing here is people should not look at how long it's taken for the budget to get signed. I think we should look at what's in the budget and how impactful this year's budget will be for our country. So I know it's taken too long. We pride ourselves on a January to December cycle where we pass the budget in December. But if it takes a month or two longer, I think we should appreciate what's in there as opposed to criticizing the fact that it's taking longer for us to pass it. And we also need, on our part, we also need to work so we can make sure we can always get this budget passed the latest of December. The minority leader spoke for the whole of Nigeria. He spoke for Nigeria on behalf of Nigeria. I may represent Ibarapa Central and Ibarapa North constituency, but I speak for Nigerians. So we did not appreciate the way it was brought in, but at the end of the day, what I think we should be very focused on at this point is what is the impact of the budget on the people? How has the budget improved the lives of our people? And if at the end of the day it's done, we feel that we have been able to improve the per capita income of the people, the GDP of the nation, the growth of the country, that's all that matters. All these noise and things about things being moved here and there, I understand people have to look at these things, very well. We have experts in this country and they look at these things very well. At the end of the day, I think what is most important to this government is let's be very impactful to our people. So I think what we've done is just a means to an end. It's not necessarily an end, but at the end of the day, we are hoping that at the end of this budget cycle, Nigeria and Nigerians will be better off. So I am not going to criticize how it was brought in, even though we feel it could have been done in a better way. Absolutely, I have no doubt about that. But at the end of the day, once it can be explained and people are happy with it, then we go from there. I would tell you, as regards federal character, I am not satisfied with the budget. And I am not satisfied with the budget because I believe this is one commission out of many that really, I believe, is highly underfunded. I can tell you that last year, referring to the budget of 2024, we had made some amendments to the budget for federal character. And at the end of the day, I think based on competing demand, scarce resources and things like that, we couldn't accommodate it. This year we've done the same thing. This is a commission where you have one commissioner from every state. I can tell you that the commissioners don't even have vehicles to work. I'm telling you, it's a really startling revelation to me that how do you work in an environment where you are highly underfunded? And I'm sure you might have heard, or Nigerians might have heard about the issues they had in the Federal Character Commission last year, where people were at loggerheads and things like that. And the reason why they were at loggerheads was they don't have the money to function. And by the time you don't have the money to function, you blame leadership. It's always going to be chaos between the people being led and the leadership. So what we have done again this year is to see how we can appropriate more money to the commission and hoping that this gets passed. And I think when it gets passed, I think we would see a better federal character, because there are two main things that federal character really focuses on, and that's that now, based on the scarce resources or the limited resources, so to say, we have not been able to focus on what we call our second mandate. The first mandate is to make sure there is just, fair, and equitable distribution of resources, whether it's employment, whether it's projects around the nation. We have done that a little bit. We are more focused on employment than on the other things. So if we now have to focus on how projects are being done in the country, how fair are things being distributed within the six geographical locations of this regions, of this nation, how fair are things being distributed among states? We have 36 federating units in this country. How evenly spread are the resources being distributed to these states? So these are things that we need to look at. We don't even have the resources to delve into that. And these are the things that keep the unity of this nation. And that's why in the constitution of this nation, the federal character principle is enshrined in there, and it's put in there for a reason. Is to make sure that the agitations of the people of different regions of this nation, the agitations of the people of different states of this nation, we can resolve. So by the time you negate the importance of why federal character was enshrined into that constitution, then we get to have people that are really unsatisfied with the project called Nigeria. So it's our founding fathers put this in for a reason, and I'm hoping that those of us who have been saddled with the responsibility of having to ensure that process is done effectively, we're empowered, to do our jobs. But you see, we cannot do our jobs without being funded. And the Federal Character Commission, I can tell you, is highly underfunded, and I'm hoping this year, they'll get better funded by the time the budget is signed. At this point, if we have to rate ourselves over 10, I think we're at a 6 at this point. We're not where we need to be. It's a work in progress. We have lots and lots of things and lots of ideas we want to implement, but it comes down to, to funding. I think what we need to do, we know what we need to do, but we also need to be empowered to do what we need to do. Right now, we have seen a significant improvement in how people have been employed in this country. Before, it was really super lopsided, and if you go to a lot of MDs in this country and you pull up their nominal role, you'll be amazed at what you see. You find out that you find from one state, you might find maybe 500 people from one state, and other states you'll find maybe 10 people here, 5 here. Some you'll find none. And the federal character principle is well explained in the Constitution. How do we do this? And most of the time, you would find out that where the chief executive of that organization is from is where you have the largest number. And you see, it's really, really very upsetting, because even when there is another recruitment, the place that has so many people, they would increase it again. So right now we have been able to, put our arms around that. You see, we also have to work very well with the commission as well, because when they issue a certificate of compliance, we want to ensure that that compliance certificate is compliant. I want to really appreciate the former Deputy Speaker of the 9th House of Assembly, Right Honorable Idris Ahmed Wase. He has been very, very instrumental into bringing a lot of change into the Federal Character Commission, and we're working together with the Commission as well. So we're hoping to see very, very good and significant improvements in how we spread the resources, especially the human resources of this nation, where people feel that they're a part of this nation. So we're at a 6 at this point. That would be my best, but I think we definitely have room for improvement, and I'm hoping by the end of this year we would have actually moved higher, and we're hoping at some point these things will work seamlessly, where we don't have to be on top of ourselves to monitor. Everybody knows what we need to do, and it will help the nation move forward.
And that's it for this episode of You and Your Reps. Until next time, stay informed and stay engaged. I am Victor, as you'll join us again.